Welcome everyone, such a global audience. Okay, I think I'll just dive right in. And this time I'll try to, we will just go through like what is this large language model and how do they work, how they are trained, what are their weaknesses and strengths, and then we will try to see how we can cover those weaknesses with different tricks and solutions. So I want you to think of large language models like a parrot. They are so good at repeating back. So this parrot, I speak out a sentence, and then he just learns it so fast and speak it out back to me. But this parrot, our large language model, is special. He has a very huge memory, right? And I send him on a mission to listen to every single person in the world, right? He will just hear them out speaking. And he will hear all the books that are written and everything that is written in the. And when he hears them, he will just repeat them back. And so what happens in that process? He will start to figure out what kind of word comes after a certain word all by himself, but he doesn't understand at all what those words mean or what those sentences mean. And this is how our large language models are trained. Let's give a small example here. Our parrot with a huge memory. When I say, I want to go to, then he will complete it with school, the mall, or such kinds of words, because he heard them over and over and over and over again, that these come together. But he will not say, I want to go to pizza, right? Like, because this is not something that he heard a lot. And that is how the large language models work. And they are trained. So moving forward, they become really good. Our parrot become really good at constructing sentences because this is all he hears. He's very good at completing what is going to come next after a certain word. But sometimes he fails in understanding some commands. Let's say if I tell him, write me a story, then what he does, he tries to complete what I just said. Write me a story, and then he just says another command maybe, because this is what he kept hearing. To fix this problem, to make it more like a chat, we put humans in to give him feedback, right? Let's see one of those examples. Let's say we say pineapple doesn't, okay? And if our parrot says, completes it with something that doesn't make sense, we just don't give him treats. But if he says pineapple doesn't belong on pizza, then we give him treats because this is right. When he says pineapples don't do math, then we give him treats. So this way we keep enforcing him the things that we want him to speak back after all this huge training. So by now you can understand that this parrot is not smart at all. All he does is just repeat back all the information that he has in his memory. And this brings some weaknesses, right? So if our parrot because our parrots only hear the people that speak publicly and only hear the books and then what is written on the internet. So if something that is not publicly available, our parrot haven't heard of it, and he will not be able to repeat back that kind of information. These are generally, let's say, some very specific knowledge that you can only find by using a certain product or by experts that hide that information. They're not publicly available. I'll give you an example. If I say, hey, parrot, for my IELTS writing, because that scoring is a very domain specific kind of hidden knowledge that you can't really find online. You can only find how to do it, but not exactly the score. Our parent will just say something that is not the exact score. But as I said, he's very good at everything available online, right? And he's very good at speaking. So the language, he will just speak back, create perfect sentences, create perfect long, speeches, text, and so on. And because we trained him on, reinforced his learning on following some instructions, he is also going to be very good at that, following certain instructions, but verbal instructions, not specifically other kinds of instructions. For example, analytical instructions. They are not really related to language. So our parrot will struggle because he doesn't really understand, if you can remember. He's good at repeating. Maybe let's put this in a perspective. So our parrot, ChatGPT, when you say how much is 420 and plus 69, in the first versions, it only used to use its parrot memory, and sometimes it doesn't do good. But later on, OpenAI realized this. ChatGPT is not good at analytical questions. So they trained it to call a script if the question or anything, the command is analytical. So here, when it is doing the summation, it is going to run a script that will help ChatGPT to create an analytical response like this, and it will become accurate. So here, as you see, the weak part of ChatGPT is covered by another analytical tool, which is running a code and then responding. And similarly here, on the right side, you will see when it solves a problem, it cannot actually just rely on its large language model repetition ability, but it needs an external help to a certain code to run at the background and help it reply accurately. All right, so maybe some of these weaknesses, we can try them together specifically for language learning context. By the way, up to this point, is there anyone who wanna say something or ask anything? Because I wanna see where we are in terms of understanding the large language models. I'll just pause for a couple seconds. All right, maybe after the examples. Oh, thank you so much. Yes. Then let's start with one of our famous examples. If anyone ever joined this webinar before, our trial webinar, they will know this example. And this is going to show you some of the limitations of the ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, or whatever large language model that is wrapped with a chat does. So the game here is we are going to try to let our ChatGPT write a story by telling, by saying that we want it to write it within the 500 word list that we have given. And then I took a word list online, and pretty wide, very well known words. You can try. I actually tried my best to make it write a story just using those 500 words and nothing else. And the result came out like this. So I only highlighted the first paragraph, and then in the next paragraph, I didn't do any highlighting. The words that I highlighted in yellow, they were not in the word list. Even though I repeated the prompt many times by saying, I only need these 500 words in the text, ChatGPT still used some words outside of that 500 word list. Now, this might sound weird because it is a linguistic task, right? What is happening here? Our parrot heard a lot of certain words that should come after a certain word, right? So when he gets the instruction of writing a story, he starts with on a warm summer day. And based on its internal logic, because it kept seeing those words again and again, he says, a boy and his dog walked along. So these words makes perfect sense to continue with. And when he comes to the water was, he used clear, even though it is not in our word list, because its internal logic tells him very strongly that this word should come next. So he overwrites our instructions. And this is what makes a large language model weak in terms of some certain instructions. So if you think about it now, if ChatGPT or other large language model cannot obey our rule of not using a certain vocabulary within the text, then you can naturally think of they are not good at changing the text to a very certain level. Let's say in our case, intermediate level. It will do it good maybe once, twice, but it will struggle in other times and it will give wrong information. If we talk about the reasons of these, it's basically if we made ChatGPT obey our rules, our laws, then it is going to slowly lose its ability to understand what is the best word that should come next, which will make it less smart because it's going to limit the ability of speaking the language out. So it's a paradox of, like obeying the instructions 100% or even 80%, or being really good at blurping out some language. Let's give another example. And this time, I told this before, it's about IELTS. I believe everyone, I'm not sure, everyone is familiar with IELTS. It's one of the most famous exams in the world to tell you your language ability. Many schools require it. Okay, yes, we got a thumbs up. Yes, 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 cool. So yeah. You can go ahead and try by yourself as well. Thanks, Elizabeth. Bella, Patty. Cool. You can give the rubric for a writing task to ChatGPT and write a really good prompt to score your writing based on that rubric, right? What happens eventually? This time, it's not going to be me. All right. It's not going to be me, but there's another person who tried this. I don't know if you know this guy. He's famous in IELTS work, called Chris Pell. They call him the, I don't know, godfather of training IELTS. He tried to do exactly what I just told you, but for speaking, very similar. Give the rubric to ChatGPT and give the prompt very well, and then ask ChatGPT to score his speaking. So he's a guy who scores 9 easily. And ChatGPT comes back and said, I would estimate your overall performance to be around 7.5. And you can see his face. I mean, he's surprised, right? It really failed understanding the rubric and giving scores based on that rubric. It didn't just fail understanding, but it also changed its answer in, let's say, 30 seconds. Because if you question its ability, analytical ability, ChatGPT's or large language models analytical abilities, they will come back and then repeat to you something else. They don't do this intentionally, but if anyone questions their ability, and if that, what they say, the score is not repeated enough in their training, they can easily change it. And then they think that is no problem at all. That is why something like this, scoring a writing, scoring a speaking, or scoring anything, large language models can't do it by themselves alone. All right. You can actually watch the video later. I can send it for the whole video. It's a very nice and funny one. So as you see, these are some of the biggest weaknesses of large language models. All right. So how do we cover them? Let me see. I think that YouTube video just put me. I don't know if I can copy this.
Let me share. I can
share it in the link. Okay.
Let me share it to the group chat.
All right. Sure. Okay. So how do we address some of the problems for language teachers that large language models fail with, right? So let's say the first problem that we were working on, the problem of not being able to limit the vocabulary of text that ChatGPT responds or replies, right? If you can't, and also you can't control the level, right? So what we do, we create lots of small, not smart models, but they are very accurate. Like this one, for example, it can very accurately tell you the level of every single word, and even on the right side, the sentence, right? And here, those models, they will make sure if you want to change the level of a text to a certain level, if some of the words come out to be difficult, it will just take the large language model, use them like puppets, and make them change those words that are difficult, or make them change those sentences that they are difficult. Because for ChatGPT, if you go ahead and then give a sentence and say, change this, or let's say here we have eclipse, change eclipse to a much easier synonym, it will try to change it to something else. And then as a teacher, you can repeat this multiple times until it gives you an easier word. it can do that. But when it comes to the overall text, it fails. So these small models kind of become a teacher of the large language model to make them very accurate in the context of language teaching and changing the level of a text or a voice file into a certain level. Or when it comes to domain-specific knowledge, well, here, this text is Catile score 980. It's suitable for American children who are between 4 and 7 years old. ChatGPT doesn't have this domain knowledge. As you can guess, it is very weak at that. So what Cathoven does, again, using this very accurate model, it can either analyze or change it to make sure it is suitable for that certain age. So not just control the vocabulary, but also provide the domain-specific knowledge. This is an example, not from Cathoven, but from another company, just to compare. I don't know if you have ever heard of Wolfram. It's very famous with mathematicians and engineers. It can solve certain problems, math problems, in a very accurate way. And even though they are very difficult math problems, I am an engineer. I trained as an engineer in my bachelor, so we used to use it a lot. So this is also a solution like what Cathoven and large language models together do. Here, Wolfram helps ChatGPT to solve this very complex math problem, because this complex math problem cannot be really solved by a Python code alone. So it needs an external knowledge, which is provided by Wolfram, not ChatGPT, not OpenAI. So these kinds of solutions and combinations are very necessary to be able to create accurate and reasonable results and responses. Okay, sorry. Anyone saying anything? All right. Actually, this is all I wanted to tell you, and I am open to take any questions. If anyone has any that needs clarification or anything that is in that vicinity. Feel free to turn your mic on.
Oh, I got someone who raised her hands.
Okay.
All
right.
Patty.
Yeah.
Yes. How long have you been training Cathoven as SLM?
Okay, so Patty raised her hand, but we can't hear you. I mean, I can't hear you. I will come to the questions in the chat bot after.
Oh, okay. Small language model.
Yeah, it is a small language model. It's a smart way of addressing it. Maybe until Patty figures out, I will just go with the first question. You know, I'm so afraid of pronouncing your name wrong. Maud. Teach me.
No, Maud. That's fine. Maud, like M-O-D.
Okay, Maud. Okay, Maud.
My first year student write my name M-O-D. And if they are girls, they write M-O-D-E for, like, in French, la mode, which means fashion.
Oh.
So just M-O-D, M-O-D-E, that's fine. Maud.
Maud. Okay, cool, Maud. How long have you been training Cathoven as a small language model, SLM? Well, just to give it, I will answer this to give maybe more information, Cathoven is a collection of those models. Like there are tons of them that solve very specific problems. For example, when you see those sentences being graded, that's a model. When you see those words being graded, that's a model. When you see as a whole text that is put together to have a certain CEFR, Common European Framework, or Catile level or grade, that is another model. Or when you want to make sure the questions are a certain level, that's another model. So how long have we been training it? We actually started like at the end of 2021 with our first model, which was the Catile, that gives you the Catile score of a text that's suitable for the native speakers. And then from there on, we kept training, and we are still actually developing those models based on certain feedback. Does that, I guess this answered your question.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is so interesting. Yeah, so it means that you can add features if you add more small language models.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
yes,
incredible.
we will. So what happens actually, we created a system that makes those models work together. And which means you can actually plug in a large language model and then get them harmoniously work together for certain tasks. The system actually can pick which one should be asked to respond or give feedback. So yeah, that is the smart part. Let me see. Could you demo how Cathoven can do this live? Joe asked, all right. I mean, I can, if I quit my screen sharing, will you be able to see my?
Yes.
Okay. Next. Let's see. Okay. This is the, I will need to log in and then kind of get rid of some of these stuff off my screen. I didn't think about doing a demo, but let's try. I need to. Actually, they say never enter your password online because the sound of your keyboard can be read and then they can tell the password. But it's fine, I'll change it. Let's give an example of the level adapter. I will just use an example text here. Okay. And then I will try to adapt it. So here, what's happening at the background? Maybe I explain a little bit. It takes the text and it uses Cathoven's small language model as it to understand which words are difficult here, which sentences are difficult and their certain level, and it will figure out the overall level of that text, right? And eventually it is going to figure out the difficult parts and use a large language model to change them to or A2 level. And it will change the vocabulary, it will change sentences, it will change the structure, whatever is difficult. So understanding what is difficult, what is easy is what Cathoven is doing, but changing those is what large language model is doing. And it's more like, it's used more like a puppet. So here you can, actually you can go to our website and try it yourself, but I just wanted to explain what goes at the background. And you see here, the vocabulary is changed from B2 all the way down to, actually it's supposed to do it A2, but sometimes the system needs to, when it changes, it can't really exactly make 100% sure the vocabulary itself is going to be in A2 level, but it is trying its best to make the whole text in A2 level. And as you can see, it become like that. Joe, is there any follow-up question after what I explained? Or is it good? Joe is gonna type or speak?
Joe got a
Or-
question.
Okay. Oh, I would
See
love
how
to see how
successful
successful
it
in
is.
writing a text only using certain words. Yes, you can. I mean, here we go. Okay. Well, if the way we do it, sorry, this is writing reviser, reading generator. The way we do it, actually, we give you a framework of a certain level. So it makes sure the whole overall level of the vocabulary and text will be within B2. I can run this when I explain another. Does anyone want any certain vocabulary that should be in the text? And then we want the text to be, let's say, in B2 level, 250. We can demo this. Actually, we need a certain topic, people running around. Should I just go ahead and then write a topic by myself? Okay. Family, all right. Yeah. Warm family story, maybe we want. I don't know. And some family. If we are gonna write about family and we want it to be in B2 level, it's gonna be a bit difficult. I don't know, like, would you like it in B2 level or change it to a certain level? Oh, relative. Okay, let's try A2 then. And maybe even make it shorter because we suggested it between this. Everyone, give me some family vocabulary. I'm not a actual language teacher. Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Nor is just burning me here. Okay. I just finished. Do we need any grammatical structure? Maybe let's even do that. Celebrate. Okay. I'll just write celebrate. Maybe use simple because we want this. Or maybe past tense. I don't know. It will be above A2 level. Let's write past tense. I will even include celebrate. Let's see if it is going to be able to use that. I'll just, okay, we are going to wait a bit and see what it is going to do. So again, it is just trying its best to use all the words that we just provided, one of our small models. And it's actually interacting with our other model that understands the level of the overall text. When a text is generated, it's going to keep giving feedback until it makes sure it is in A2 level. It's kind of a mix of level adapter, generating a complete text based on a certain topic, and so on. And here we go. It's an A2 level, perfect A2 level text. And it's a kind of story. Last year we had, so the black ones, thank you. And the black ones are the grammar points, and then the green ones are the vocabulary we just gave. Last year we had a big family gathering. My brother, sister, and I were very excited. Our grandmother came to visit us. She brought, so it's try to also make the sentences very simple. Cool. Let's see another question. Now I understand why LLMs are not reliable to assess grammar. have you trained any model to assess grammar? Summer, do you know? Maybe you can understand better than me. Assess grammar in the sense
I
of,
think the CFR level of the grammar sentence structure. Patty, do you mean
Oh,
that
yeah.
for ES? Yeah.
I don't know. Patty is writing something.
Patty says no. Assess grammar. Why don't I see it right now?
Maybe this we are still
The model
we are
assess
kind of doing a
grammar.
demo. I didn't actually thought about doing that, but let's just analyze.
Oh, just Patty is talking about the writing revisor.
Oh, I see. The writing revisor,
Great.
whether a grammar is, yeah, I think actually like in general to assess the grammar, there are already very good existing tools. I don't know if some teachers like it, but even Grammarly can, its name is grammar, can assess. Maybe we can just try this revisor here. Generally, it tries to fix any problems there are in the text, including the grammar. Yeah. So we have this model and small models that does that. We are just gonna wait while I'm reading another question. Let me see. No. Okay. Does it work in different? Yeah, to answer this question very fast, or maybe before we come to that. So here, you see there are some problems. There were some problems with the text. And it figured them out and corrected them. Oh, and comment can be in any language. I turned the Turkish on. So actually you can pick other languages to comment on. And here it fixed some of the problematic grammar points and some structures, I guess, but this is an easy text. So you can go ahead and try it yourself and maybe give us feedback. To come to the other question, does it work in different languages? Not, for now, only in English. But the exercise creator can in multiple different languages, but the analysis can only be done in English for now, and also a bit of Chinese with this one, if a Chinese learner like me. Yeah. Mandarin specifically. Someone asked, why is enjoyed not? I think you are talking about the reading generator's last paragraph. We celebrated until late at night, enjoying every moment. Is that, Ella, is that what?
No. On the
no?
third line, my cousin also joined us. On the third line. On the in the first paragraph. Oh, no.
Talking about the
Joy.
Did you mean celebration instead of celebrate? Maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, if you can turn on your mic or write in the comments, I will explain. I'll try to explain. Joe said, so you can only generate reading text in English, correct? For now, reading generator only generates, because creating all these small models we wanted to make them super accurate. They are even being quoted in some scientific papers in research, and we want to make sure we do it very accurately before we publish. So our next languages will be Spanish, then next French, and we will move on to other languages later, but for now only in English. I guess I answered your question when you were typing it. Do you have any API to edit text in web pages, learning management systems in real time? Oh, Summer just answered that, yes. Yes, we do. This becomes so much about Cathoven though now. Okay, this webinar, even though we didn't plan it to be done. All right, looking forward to edition more. Yes, we do. If you are interested, just reach out to us, and I'll direct you to the right people about the API. Okay. No more questions, I guess. Okay, as a small addition, it would be really nice to have sentence generator in the website as well, since your reading generator actually works pretty well.
Sentence
Generate
generator.
sentences. Generate sentences, only sentence, like one sentence. Yeah, I think we can give this feedback to our development team. Maybe just turn on sentence. I see. We can do that actually even now. What we never thought that it is a strong need.
Yeah, whoever have this kind of feedback and you feel like it's a hassle to email us, you can join the WhatsApp group. And after this webinar, whoever haven't registered on our next hub, I will give you a link to register for 14-day premium. And whoever have already been our premium subscription, I will assign 50 more catnips to your account for you to explore more.
About Joe's question of adding French and Spanish, I mean, we have been working on some Spanish a bit, but 2025 is probably a realistic timeline. And Farooq said multiple sentences with a keyword pool. I mean, yeah, I know now. Okay, yeah, that's clear. Farooq, you can reach out to me directly, and we will figure out how we should do that, the exact need. Just a keyword pool, and then you create sentences from keyword. Yes, we can give this as a feedback. Let's see. Stella shared her study set on large language models. Thank you so much. In Quizlet, people, you can go to Stella's comment. She shared a link about studying the large language model. And also, as Summer said, you can join the WhatsApp group. Yes. All right. It felt interactive. Thank you so much for joining and spending 40, 50 minutes together with us. Okay. All right. Then wherever you are in the world, good evening or good morning or good afternoon. Bye. Oh, final question.
Last question.
Sorry. Bye, Patty. Are you thinking of doing anything with? Yes, absolutely. This has been something that we have been planning for a while, but we didn't want to actually release it before it is ready, or we didn't even want to release it to internal testing group, but we have been working on the speaking part, and you will see it within 2024 that comes out. Yes, there will be lots of different options, like from scoring the speaking, giving feedback on speaking, or generating speaking exercises, or yes, giving feedback to your students speaking. Yes. Yes, Elizabeth, correct. All right, then. I guess we are good to go. The 3-minute audio. Is it the podcast that we have been generating? Yeah. If the marketing and then content team have been doing that using, yes, yeah, using Cathoven. Well, yes, using Cathoven generators and also the voice that we haven't posted yet, published yet. Correct. You have been following us. Thank you, Maud. I think it's good to say goodbye. Bye, everyone. And
Bye, everyone.
hope to
Join
see
the
you
WhatsApp
in the next one.
group.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.